This is Unit 1, Lesson 5. This time we're going to be comparing greater numbers than we did in Unit 1, Lesson 3. The directions say compare, write, greater than, less than, or equal to make each statement true. Look at number 1. I'm going to look through each number and check to see that they are the same on both sides. If they aren't, then I know I have to then look at which number is bigger, and that's the number I eat. So I notice in number 1 I have 1 and a 1. They match. However, the second number is a 2, and the second number here is a 1. So again, I know that the 2 is bigger than 1. I'm going to eat the bigger number. Okay? Try to keep your greater than, less than, or equal to signs inside. My perception of depth is just a little off right now, so I apologize. I'll work harder on that. Remember, the other way I can do this is to rewrite the numbers so that they are lined up underneath each other. So I have 28, 734. It's very easy, especially when their two numbers are very close together, to mix these up. Notice my 2's are the same, 3, and then an 8. Well, I know 8 is bigger. This number is on that side, so I'm going to eat the bigger number. Look at number 5. This one's kind of tricky. I have a 7, a 9, a 1, a 1, and a 3. If you choose to rewrite the numbers, double check that you're writing exactly what it says, because even one number changing could affect your answer. My 7's are the same, my 9's are the same, my 1's are the same. Ooh, this one, let's see how it keeps going. Oh, then I have a 3 and a 1. I know 3 is bigger, therefore I'm going to eat the bigger number. Number 7. Big number. I have a 7, 0, 5, 1, 2, 6. If the numbers are the same, I'm going to put in the equal sign. I have 6, 4, 7, 3, 1, 0. They match. Yes, 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 yes. They don't match. The 3 is bigger than the 0, so therefore this is the bigger number I'm going to eat. The last one's a little bit trickier. Notice how I can already tell I have 2 numbers here and I have 3 numbers here. If I have 3 numbers before the comma before 2 numbers before the comma, I know that the one that's got 3 is therefore going to be bigger. So pay very close attention not only to the numbers, but how many place values there are. Go ahead and pause the video at this time so that you can complete 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12 on your own. Alright, let's look down here at numbers 13 through 18. The directions say round to the nearest 10,000. Underlining my 10,000. And again, I'm going to actually go through and underline where my 10,000 is. So in this case, number 13, my 10,000, the number in it is a 2. I look to the right, 5 or more, and I'm going to go up with this number. So I know that the 2 will become a 3. Everything to the right of that then becomes a 0. Make sure I write the same exact number of place values that were in the original number. Number 15, 48,333. Again, I know I'm going to my 10,000. My 4 is in my 10,000 spot. I'm going to look next door. 8 tells me that my 4 is going to get bigger, so it's going to go up to a 5. Everything to the right becomes a 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. 2, 3, 4. Again, making sure that I check how many place values I started with, because that's how many I have to end with. Look at number 17. Underline your 10,000ths place. Look next door. This time it's a 2, so 4 and below. This number stays the same. So it's going to be a 9, and then everything else turns into zeros. So I have a thousands place, and then 3 more zeros. Okay. Go ahead and pause so that you can complete 14, 16, and 18 on your own. Now let's look at 19 through 24. It says round to the nearest 100,000. Again, I'm going to underline my 100,000 because that's my direction. And now I need to identify which is the 100,000 in number 19. Well, if this is thousands, 10,000s, this would be my 100,000s. I'm going to underline it. Look next door. If it's 4 or below, this number stays the same. So I'm going to write my 5. And then everything past on the right becomes a 0. So that's 5 zeros. Comma, 1, 2, 3. So I should have a total of 5 zeros. Look at 21. This is my 100,000ths place value. Look next door. 7 tells me that I'm going to go up on this number. So it's going to become a 7. Everything else to the right becomes a 0. Number 23, I have 390,101. This is my place value for the 100,000. Look next door. That tells me that this number is going to go up. So we're going to go up to 4. Everything to the right becomes zeros. Go ahead and pause so that you can complete 20, 22, and 24 on your own. Alright, now we've got some interesting little riddles to follow. So to number 25, it says a number containing no zeros changed to 310,000 after it was rounded. To what place was the number rounded? If it says the number had no zeros before it was rounded, and when it changed, it became 310,000, and it wants to know what place value the number was rounded to. Well, the way I know the answer to that is, remember, whatever place value we round to, all the numbers on the right of that number become zeros. So in this case, the thousands place became 0 and everything after that. So therefore making the place value that was rounded the 10,000 place value. And the reason I know it is because the rule is when I round, everything to the right becomes zeros. And go ahead and write that in. Everything that to the right becomes a 0. Number 26. A number containing no zeros changed to 901,400 after it was rounded. To what place was the number rounded? I'm looking for zeros. There's a 0 here, but If I keep going to the right, do I still have zeros? I do not. So I know this wasn't the place value. But then I look at my hundreds and notice that the tens and the ones are in zeros. So my guess is that it was at the hundreds place. And again, my explanation that I'm telling you, rather than writing it, which you need to write it, is that everything to the right becomes a zero. That's how I know. Number 27. A number containing no zeros changed 800,000 after it was rounded. To what place was the number rounded? Again, I look at my number. There's my 8 and everything else are zeros. This place value is 100,000. So I'm going to write 100,000. Number 28. A number containing no zeros changed to 122,000 after it was rounded. To what place was the number rounded? Explain how you know. Go ahead and do this one on your own. Pause the video now. Let's look at number 29 now. This time we're going to be rounding to the nearest whatever it tells us, but we always come back to this number. So, A says to the nearest 10. That means that I'm going to be looking at this place value. I notice that it's a 0. Look next door to the right. It's a 1. That means that this is going to stay the same. I have to still write the entire number. Sorry, guys. So I'm going to write 395 and my 1. The 0 stays the same and everything to the right becomes zeros. When this number is rounded to the nearest 100, here's my 1. Look to the right. Stays the same. Again, I'm going to write my 395. The 1 stays the same. Everything to the right becomes a 0. And it's okay. Both of these are still, even though this one is rounded to the 10 and this one's rounded to the 100, that is the correct answer. Round to the nearest 1,000. So here's my thousands place value. If I look to the 1, it tells me this is going to stay the same. So my answer is 395. Everything to the right becomes 0. 10,000. I have a 9 here. I see the 5. That means this is going to become a bigger number. And it actually is going to round up to 400. Because 9 can't go anywhere else, so everything else has to go bigger. And it becomes 400,000. And my 3 is in my 100,000 spot. Look to the 9. Well, this number is going to get bigger, and it's going to go up to 400,000 as well. Sometimes that happens when the values are the same. Okay. Go ahead and complete number 30 on your own. This concludes Unit 1, Lesson 5.